Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker. We have our co-host, Lori Hintz.
Hiya.
Well, we teased the show last night by saying, guns, 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 and more guns!
Yeah, that was really subtle. I was like, okay, that's
Yeah.
going to be a fun topic. Well, we are going to talk about firearms. We're talking about them especially, particularly with regard to Congress now. So you've got an incoming regime.
Yes, you have an administration
Okay, that
that finds the Second Amendment
abhorrent.
good word.
Thank you.
Abhorrent. And Joe Biden has a history of being in favor of restrictions to the Second Amendment
Right.
and limiting manufacture of various types of guns and what people. So we have a lot to look forward to here. And
He's being facetious. There's another word for you, facetious. So the truth of the matter is that this guy has been very clear. Like, I think it's great because we had Clayton Peterson on the program, I don't know how many weeks ago, saying, you know what, this is not going to be good because he's going to go after the NRA. And the first thing that Biden even really announced was that he was going to take out the NRA. Immediately.
He's already. Let's pop up a graphic. Biden's got on his website.
This is
here we
Lauren
have.
Boebert.
Yeah.
This is good
Oh
too.
yeah,
I love this one. This is so
your
great.
person.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so Lauren Boebert is a brand new representative just elected here in 2020, and she's from Colorado. And she tweeted this out, as you can see, December 3rd. Democrats should think of concealed carry as masks for our guns, and maybe then they'd support it. That just cracked me up. She's clever.
Yeah.
And she's rankling some people in Congress already, particularly Nancy Pelosi, as long as we're on this. Pelosi is now imposing a $5,000 fine on lawmakers who bypass metal detectors. It's kind of like, Lauren Boebert, you know what? You think you're going to get away with carrying on Capitol Hill? Guess what? I'm going to smack you with that. She proposes rule change that would impose this on lawmakers who refuse to go through the newly installed metal detectors at the Capitol. A $5,000 fine deducted directly from their paychecks. And the House will be voting on the rule change when it returns to session on January 21st. So we'll find out what that happens. So you can see, this is the website for the Biden-Harris webpage where they're talking about their plan to end our gun violence epidemic.
Yeah.
And forgive me, I was kind of saying that in a kind of a derogatory tone, but the fact of the matter is they have so many scary things on this page that we can highlight, including holding gun manufacturers accountable.
Right, can you imagine? Okay, so yeah, there's several, we're going to hit several of these, but
Right.
you hold gun manufacturers accountable for someone misusing their product,
Right.
for committing a crime. This doesn't make any sense. It's not reasonable.
Right.
It's designed solely, regardless of the ethics of it, it's designed simply to put gun manufacturers out of business. There is nothing else that we have where we're holding manufacturers accountable.
Right.
If I stab you with this pen,
Right,
Lori,
that pen manufacturer.
your family cannot sue the pen manufacturer.
Right, that seems silly. But that's another one of the things that is on their website. And
Right.
then add to that some of the other things that they have added on here too.
They have get weapons of war off of our streets.
Honestly.
Weapons of war
Oh,
off
for
of our streets. So
heaven's sakes.
here's what they do. They convolute this idea of war and weapons that people allegedly don't need, have absolutely no purpose in a peaceful society. And they wrap into that sort of concept very normal, routine guns that people use all the time.
Does anybody else think this is just so ironic that they are talking about this? And it's far more inflammatory, even on their website, than anything that Trump has ever said. And they're calling it like the battle for the soul of the nation. The battle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who's inflaming talk here? I mean, which is it? Is it Trump saying things, or is it actually these people talking about battles, war zones, and things like
Right.
that?
What they're referencing is the 1994 Public Safety and Recreational Firearms Use Protection Act. And it had a 10-year sunset. They couldn't get it passed unless there was a sunset on it, thankfully. And it banned all sorts of weapons because, it banned this idea of assault weapons. What is an assault weapon, Laura,
Right.
you might ask?
Yeah.
No one knows.
No one
An
knows.
assault weapon is a scary weapon. So if you don't want your gun confiscated, paint it something other than black, perhaps some pink polka dots. And there are various accoutrements on the gun that can make it look scarier, certain types of whatever. Well, we've got a couple guests, they can tell you more details of that. But here's the thing, they had 10 years of that, of getting those assault weapons off the streets. They were banned. What happened? It did not change crime with guns one bit. Now, they will say that it did have an effect, and they do on their website say it reduced the lethality of mass shootings. Now, it's very interesting phrasing, because what they had to look and look and look to try and find something that they could say, hey, it made a difference.
So
they
people were
took mass
injured
shootings,
the same, but they were not killed, so it wasn't lethal and it didn't kill as many people.
Right. So when you see that kind of crap, you know that they are desperate to find anything, and it actually didn't work. But they're going to bring that back, and they're going to make it. And they say they've learned the lessons from the past, and they're going to make it more restrictive yet.
They're going to regulate possession of existing assault weapons under the National Firearms Act. So, due to the requirements, weapons are rarely used in crimes. So I'm trying to figure out. I don't know.
Yes, it's we can have an entire show just on this one little part about the different types of bans and the different types of regulations, and we should. We'll devote a whole show to it. That have occurred in various countries and have been shown time and time and time again to not be beneficial in the way that they had intended it.
It just seems like a lot of cherry picking here to me.
They're also looking at doing a buyback.
Oh, great.
And a buyback is where you have to sell your weapon, whatever weapon, scary weapon that you own that they've deemed to be too dangerous. You sell it back, they give you a little money. That also was shown not to be helpful, and you can look at a study comparing New Zealand and Australia, and there was an extensive buyback, didn't change a thing.
See, I don't know why people are delusional enough to think that any of these things is going to change anything. And there's going to be more hoarding. It's
ridiculous.
It is so silly.
And when you have a buyback, let's say your buyback is effective.
Right.
Do you know who has guns? Criminals.
Criminals have the guns.
Right. How stupid. And I don't have the number in front of me, but I know that it's well in excess of 300 million guns in the United States.
Right.
So that's not going to work. I mean, none of these are going to work.
None of them are.
I tell you what they will do. They will divide the nation further.
Well, and how long is it going to be until being a Trump supporter gets your guns taken away from you? I'm just saying. I mean, how long is it going to? That's probably 3, 2, 1. They're going to start, profiling people. And, if we thought censorship was bad, wait until you start getting profiled for what you had on your Facebook page, and they come for your guns.
Yep.
Because you know it's coming.
They're going to be looking at all those avenues, and they are going to do what they can to register gun owners. So, for instance, with their buyback program, you have the option not to sell your gun to the government, so long as you give all of your data that you own the type of gun that they don't like. Now, I think what you're going to find is that the number of occurrences of gun theft, when people are supposed to be reporting their guns, I think probably your average gun owner is going to say, I can't find it, I think it was stolen. Because who in their right mind is going to say, yes, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, here's where I live, here's my name, here's the guns I own that I know you don't like and you don't want me to have. Here you go.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, no one's doing it.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, it's going to be silly. This whole page is really actually quite disturbing, actually. They are going to establish a new task force on online harassment and abuse to focus on the connection between mass shootings, online harassment, and extremism. Dog whistle, anyone?
Yeah, no kidding. And here's the other thing. It's this is in itself a whole topic as well. They are focused on gun violence that stem from harassment and bullying online.
Right.
Does it really matter if a minor is bullied so badly, they are so damaged psychologically that they go out and harm somebody? Does it really matter whether they harmed other people with a gun versus a knife versus an explosive versus whatever?
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's the same as any of the other things. Homicide. Does it matter that it was with a gun versus another object? Suicide. Does it matter that it was a gun versus another means?
That's a great point.
These I'm going to get to it. There are 3 reasons why these folks are against guns. Why anybody in politics especially are against guns. I'm going to hit those 3 reasons, in my opinion. When we come back, stick with us. We'll be right back.
And we're going to have a guest.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef in all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Heroes and Icons is changing to Cozy TV on January 18th. Don't worry, you'll still get your favorite Beck News programming without changing the channel. Real people, real news, Beck News.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. We're talking about guns. And we've got a guest with us. This is kind of a little bit of a free-for-all on guns. We could have many segments on guns and different aspects and the regulation thereof and so forth. But it occurred to me, when we're having just kind of an overview, why not bring a couple of fun guests? And so we have with us Reed Christensen.
Howdy.
Reed the Bulge Christensen. And you know, and then after Reed, we're going to have his brother, Cole. Now, when I was out at the Christensen compound, exhibiting freedom and liberty, I was offered the choice of, I don't know, like 60 different kinds of firearms to shoot, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. So I figured, who knows more about having fun with guns than the Christensen boys? So, Reed, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I guess I must have done all right.
You did all right last time.
Right? Like
Yeah, you did. We're going to test you a little bit more, though, because this is a free-for-all. You don't know what's
all
going to
right.
happen.
I had no idea.
So, one thing I want to mention, though, I did the sort of outtake talking about 3 reasons why people in politics want guns. This is my opinion.
Okay.
Number 1, they honestly believe that it is going to make us safer. They are well-intentioned, and they have bought in and believe wholesale this idea that if we can get fewer guns on the streets, that people will be safer.
That's, yep, okay, that's,
That's a legitimate reason.
well, in some people's mind.
I didn't say it was an accurate, but
Okay.
it's a legitimate
It is a
reason. It's a bona fide reason. Okay, number 2, they use it, again, I said people in politics, they use it as another narrative to divide the country.
Right.
Because to the left's opponents, they want to demonize us, to dehumanize us, to suggest that we hate children, we hate old people, we hate gay people, we hate colored people, we hate everybody who doesn't look and sound like us. And in this circumstance, we don't care about victims, we don't care about children, we don't care about people's safety. So it's a divisive issue, right?
Correct.
And it works because they have so many people on their side.
Agreed.
For instance, a criminologist is 37 times more likely to be a Democrat than a Republican.
Wow.
Yeah, true.
Okay, your third reason?
Third reason, control, control,
Control.
control. Okay, gun control is paramount to controlling your citizenry, and we've seen it exhibited in many countries, and I know that sounds a little fringy, but you cannot control your citizenry if you haven't controlled their access to weapons. And we'll talk about, I think if we have time, we're going to talk about Federalist number 46, because the Second Amendment is specifically and primarily for protecting oneself against the tyranny of government. It's not for hunting, and it's not for other sport. And as much as it's for self-defense, it specifically is for self-defense from an overbearing government.
That's great. Oh, that's
All right, so those are my
very
three
good.
reasons.
Good analysis. So your feelings on the Second Amendment and guns?
Well, who's going to trust your life better than yourself? If I have the means to defend myself, it's going to be ultimately, it rests in my care whether or not I can defend my friends, my family, my brothers, whatever have you. So I'm a strong advocate for the Second Amendment, always have been. I grew up, shooting this, that, the other thing, BB guns, on down the line to, 50 cal. It's been amazing growing up in America where, you have access to this stuff where you can, say, hey, let's go out to the back, let's take a clay pigeon shooter and throw some clays and, line up your shotgun and hit stuff. So I grew up doing it, and I can't imagine life without it. I can't imagine growing up without those freedoms. And so, we kind of take it for granted here. And when our freedoms come under attack, that's why we have, hopefully, strong legislators, strong, people that can step up and fill that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly where we have to sort of keep the conversation is this is the American tradition.
Yes.
More than anywhere in
Yep.
the world, it's the American tradition. So that's so important, the sporting, the hunting, the camaraderie, all
Yep.
of that. But then underlying that is back to the we cannot allow our guns to be taken
Self-defense.
because we need them for self-defense against
am I
other
wrong?
people and the government.
Am I wrong in surmising that there are very many countries of the world who have had second thoughts about coming to the United States of America and taking us on simply
Oh,
because of the number of people in the country who are armed?
Well, wasn't it General Yamamoto that said if we attack, America, there'd be a gun behind every blade of grass? That's our reputation. I mean, that's a defense in and of itself. Is you don't really need a gun behind every blade of grass, but if that perception's out there,
That's right.
it keeps people at bay.
Right, and that to have an invasion on American soil,
Yep.
I mean, the American military is the mightiest in the world.
Yep.
But you come on our soil,
Yep.
and then you multiply that
Multiply it.
tenfold.
Exactly.
Tenfold, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely no doubt.
So I'm going to pivot a little bit here, but I was looking some more at this Biden-Harris website and what
All
they
right.
say about guns. And one of the other things that they said is they want to prohibit the use of federal funds to arm or train educators to discharge firearms. And then in addition to that, address the epidemic of suicides by firearms. And I am thinking in my head, what other suicides are there that they are, I mean,
Yeah. Well, and again, they're trying to separate out suicide by gun. How is
Right.
that? How is that
Yeah.
worse than suicide by someone's dead?
Exactly.
Same with homicides.
that's what I was thinking.
And it's already been shown that guns in the homes do not increase the number of suicides. Yes, there are more suicides by gun, but the number of suicides. So, are you really going to be satisfied if the number of suicides is the same,
Right.
but there were more by guns, poison, jumping, whatever else?
Right.
Baseball bats.
What's the
Yeah.
benefit of that?
Right.
What's the logic in that?
There is no
none.
logic in any of this. There's just,
Well, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. you
Well,
know?
and we've seen that
Yeah.
we
many
have in
times.
churches recently too. I mean, how many times have we recently seen that? And is it unusual to anybody else that there have been very few gun violence, mass shooting type things during the Trump administration? I mean, it just doesn't seem like there have been maybe I'm wrong,
Well, I mean, no, you're not
COVID
wrong.
maybe
They don't
had
come to
something
mind.
do
Yeah,
with it.
COVID kind of
One
overshadowed
thing that's
everything.
interesting too is in 17, I got constitutional carry pass.
Yep.
And we were told, oh my God, gun violence is going to go up. And we were told, oh my God, Canadian residents aren't going to come down and shop because they're going to be so fearful because people are going to be walking around with guns. There is no change in anything. The streets of North Dakota are the same now as they were in 2016 with regard to guns, despite the fact that we passed constitutional carry, meaning you can carry a weapon concealed without a license. So that change, we restored some of the Second Amendment, and all of the alarm turned out to be false. And that's the same way it is with the other restrictions that they want to place. Conversely, it's not going to suddenly cause a decrease in the harm.
So you're of a little different generation than we, ever so slightly. What is the feeling amongst your peers?
You know, there's a ton of gun culture out there. Look at it from, Black Rifle Coffee Company, where they basically market to millennials and Gen Z. It's amazing actually the support that's out there. In Airsoft growing up, we'd get friends together, high school, grade school even, and we'd run around and shoot each other with plastic BBs, and we just thought the world of it. Like that was what we did growing up, and paintball's a different avenue. Nerf guns were kind of the ease into that. America is just gun culture. I mean, you can't get away from it. We buy our kids, cap guns. Cap guns are in every old cartoon, and then now today, you got sweet Nerf guns and the real deal, is.
When I was a young mother and had little kids, I remember thinking to myself, well, I'm not going to, push one culture over the other. And one time at lunch, one of my sons took his grilled cheese sandwich and he chewed it into a gun. And I was like, okay, obviously this is inherent because.
And my mom tried with us. She tried not to have, us boys shooting each other. So what we did to get around that is I'd pretend to be the deer. And so we'd shoot our cap guns, at me, who was the deer running around. So
nice.
we always found a way. Kids get around.
It's all true. It's all true. I think it's just the whole cowboys and Indians thing. It's just.
That's offensive.
I know.
All right, so Reed, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for bringing up how important guns are to the American tradition.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you having you on. We are going to bug out. We're going to have your brother next. Do you think he's going to do as good as you?
He'll do better.
You think so?
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Well, hang with us. We're going to meet Reed's brother. What's his name?
Cole.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
The professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz.
Hi there.
And Reed's brother. What's your name again?
I'm Cole Christensen.
Cole Christensen. I'm just joking because I sit next to Cole in the House of Representatives in the state. So, and how very, very lucky he is.
Cole, this is your very first session. How's it going so far?
Well, I get to bug Rick all the time. It's going pretty good.
Great, great. So I'm sure there's a lot of new experiences.
There are. Yeah, it's once you sit in that seat, you understand what a legislator has to go through. And at least I have a new level of respect for people like Rick that are willing to take on issues that may be more controversial, like gun.
Yep.
Right.
Like guns, yep. We have a couple. and you're signed on to some of the gun bills, are you?
I am.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun having you next to me, and he's very spiffy dressed.
Yes.
At least as spiffy as he is now.
I got to keep up with you, Rick.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Good luck with that, my friend.
I was going to say, good luck on that. So talk a little bit about some of the bills that are being introduced, guys.
All right. I've got a list. It's not an all-inclusive list, and we're still sending bills in. We can continue in the House of Representatives, continue to give bills into for submission until 5 o'clock on Monday. So there will be more that are in, but we have several. There are House Bill 1248. There are 3 that I have on my little list to briefly discuss tonight. 3 from Ben Koppelman, 2 from me. There are others. 1248 is a bill which prevents the prohibition of dangerous weapons during a state of emergency. So right now, during a state of emergency, the governor can't say, hey, you can't have guns on you. And in this bill, it's pretty simple. It just adds dangerous weapons, which are going to be things like, I don't even know, brass knuckles and maybe a bow and arrow and some stuff like that.
Knives?
And what do you think about that one, Cole?
Well, I did take a look at that. Like you said, there was some specific things like bow and arrow. I think it included knives and some of the things that would pertain to that.
Yeah.
But, it was exciting to see that there's a lot of support in the legislature for something like that.
Yeah, I think there's general support for regaining a lot of the Second Amendment. You know, it says shall not be infringed.
Right.
I mean,
That's
there's no other
what it
amendments that
says.
have that like specific language. Like they're saying to future generations, don't mess with this. And of course, we still did.
Right.
Well, if I may,
Yeah.
I just want to tell one of my favorite quotes that one of our founding fathers said. Stay strapped or get clapped. And that was by George Washington.
Really?
Probably.
Stay
I'm
strapped
just
or get clapped?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's a big thing in the gun community right now. Like people are like, oh, you got to be, carrying, otherwise you're gonna regret it.
Okay, now are you joking about Washington?
I was joking. Yes, that was a.
God dang it!
Gotcha.
Don't mess with me.
I gotta
man.
Really nice
I gotta
when you get
keep
the
Rick
hose.
on
That
his
was pretty
toes.
good. That
I'm
was
thinking,
excellent.
like, in what manner did they use the phrase "clapped" in those days? You dork. Okay.
That was really good. Finally,
I've got
somebody
one more
gets
pen,
emphasizing.
so watch it.
Okay.
House Bill 1311. It allows Class 1 and 2 concealed weapons permit carriers in public buildings.
Oh.
So things like the Capitol and so on and so forth. Now, it does allow the exemption, like say in a courtroom, as long as there are metal detectors. Because again, the concept is if you're not allowed to carry your weapon into a building, then
Right.
you are at risk. The only way that you're not at risk, allegedly, is if they have a metal detector and are catching everyone. Because if you don't go in, if there's no metal detector, you go into building, you're going to abide by the law. The people who don't abide by the law will still have their guns. So you
Right.
need the metal detector for that. Are you on that, or what are your thoughts on that, Cole?
I'm gonna agree with you on that. For the general public, I mean, they're the ones who pay for the building, but I also see the argument where anywhere you go, you should be able to defend yourself. And there's a lot of security at the Capitol, so if there was an issue, they would be right on it. But I would tend to argue that for every legislator that carries a gun, that room is that much more safe.
Oh, absolutely it is. And they have a metal detector for the main entrance. They don't have it on the legislator entrance.
Oh, yeah.
And there are so many people coming in and out that door. You know, when I go in, if someone's like, "Oh, hey, I'm going to come through too," I'm not like shoving them out and not letting them come through the automatic door.
Right.
So the Capitol is not secure.
Yeah.
And if you go on to, say, I don't know, floor 12, and I don't know whoever's there, but if you're going to try and do harm to somebody, you've got an abundance amount of time before the highway patrol, who police the Capitol, are going to be there. It's crazy. So let's move on to the next one. 1297, the third one that I have on my list by Ben Koppelman. It allows for carrying in schools, public buildings, churches, and so forth, as long as you fit within the parameters of being able to carry at all. So again, an expansion, a taking back of what was originally intended in the Second Amendment. I love that one. I don't know if I'm on. I don't even know which bills I'm on at this point. Are you on that one?
You know, I don't know. I do like that bill, though. Even though I was homeschooled, I still like to carry my gun in the classroom.
Oh, you're homeschooled.
Yeah, I was.
I'm sorry. I will speak more
Oh,
slowly.
come
for you.
on.
Thank you, Rick. You're very sensitive.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to go on a slight tangent here.
Here we
I
go.
had in the operating room, someone made a crack about homeschoolers and whatever not being bright. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be crazy. And unrelated, and they were joking, but unrelated, we were talking later in the day about a girl in my medical school class who came into the medical school at age 15, became a physician at age 19. And it didn't even occur except at the end of the conversation. The person who was teasing about homeschoolers had something, well, I can't believe she got through school. I said, well, she was homeschooled. And I was like, oh, that's right. Anyway. Back, okay.
Yeah, you should be able to carry at home.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. This is one of mine, House Bill 1293. It improves the constitutional carry law. So I got constitutional carry in 2017. It passed nicely. There were some restrictions on it because, again, this is at the time of DAPL, and we had a lot of craziness going on with people from out of state. So there were a couple of things on there, few things, that were really not in line with the Constitution, but it still brought us closer, so it was a big victory. One of the things is that you currently need to be a resident of the state for a year, and you need to be able to carry, or you need to be able to show your license. You need to inform an officer that you're carrying a gun, which is smart anyway.
Right, it is. It's just safety.
But this takes those types of limitations off. And here the thing is, a police officer, when they stop you, if you don't tell them you have a gun, they're not going to relax and not take precautions because, of course, the criminal is going to be the one to not tell them they have a gun. That's who they have to worry about. So I think that, I'm hoping that's going to be good. Do you have any issues with the idea that you don't have to be a resident carrying a weapon concealed?
No, because if I was going into another state and they had constitutional carry, for example, I'd want to be able to carry in that state. As long as the statutes are the same or similar, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Same thing for getting a concealed carry license. It's like this has reciprocity.
Yep.
With a bunch of other states, except for Minnesota. And
that's why you have to get Utah.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, probably the thing that can be applied over and over and over again is really grasping and embracing the concept that these restrictions only apply to people who follow the law.
Yep.
And if you are a person who's inclined to go harm another person, you are inherently not a person who's a law-abiding citizen because you are going to do harm, kill, what have you. If you're not a law-abiding citizen, then all these other laws don't make a difference to you. All they do is impede someone who is being lawful from being able to protect themselves.
Exactly.
I know you agree 100%, Cole.
I do. I must say,
yes,
I think guns are extremely beautiful, but tasers are stunning.
Oh my God, I'm not even gonna throw my pen at you.
Lord.
That's pretty good. Tasers are stunning
Sorry.
while guns are only beautiful. All right, the last one, it doesn't.
You too. Okay.
Yes, right.
Just go
Okay,
with that.
the next one, I haven't submitted it yet. It's a Second Amendment preservation bill.
Excellent.
Yes, and I'm particularly excited about this one, especially in light of the incoming administration. What this does, it says that any law on a federal level that's more restrictive than our laws cannot be enforced by our local and state police. Because Lord knows I do not want to put our state and local police in the position of having to knock on your door, Cole,
Right.
and say you have to give me your gun. That's not good. We've got
bad.
5 seconds. Give me a good one.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything
You just
else.
said it
Thank you for
already.
having me on the show, everyone.
All right, hang with us. We're going to be back with more great stuff.
Yes, we are. We've got brain food when we come back. We'll see you in a second. Thanks for being here, Cole.
Howdy, folks. It's the County Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hay-Boston breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous County Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering is the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. It is time for brain food, nutrition for your brain, trivia.
I kind of like it. It's a little trivia. It's a little twist on trivia. We'll say it's a little twist on trivia.
I think so.
We have picked some words to educate you about. He says edumacate. I just say educate you. But we are going to, we'll start with one of them, which is my word, and it is the word divergent. And I kind of picked Divergent, and it is, of course, a movie. Everybody's like, well, that's a movie. But it is also it's moving or extending in different directions from a common point. And what made me think of this word was when we were looking at the graph of North Dakota and South Dakota and how it started in the same place, but then it completely diverged on the screen. So that made me think of it. So differing from each other or a standard. So divergent, diverging curves for North and South Dakota. That's what made me think of it.
I use divergent in several assessments in plastic surgery as well.
Oh,
yeah.
And how? Okay,
interesting
he's not gonna
ways.
say.
Interesting ways. I don't want to start talking about
Okay,
female
let's not
anatomy.
talk about that. Okay.
All right.
So you're up. Your next one. Mine was short.
All right. So I don't know if you know this, but our president was impeached
Yes, I did hear that.
for the second time.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the first time that anyone's been impeached twice.
Okay.
The first impeachment ever in the United States was in January of 1799. And it's interesting because there have been something on the order of, I don't know, low 20s of impeachments. Almost all of them are for judges.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the first one was for a senator. And the senator's name is William Blount. He was there from Tennessee. And he got caught. President John Adams caught him in a conspiracy. He was working with Spain, for a plot that would prevent Spain from ceding its territories to France because he had a lot of land down south, and his land holdings would have decreased in value extensively. So that was a no-no, and so he was expelled from the Senate, and he was impeached. And then the United States Senate was going to try him. I think one of the interesting things was that at his trial, he didn't show up.
Right.
Because he moved back to Tennessee, was elected to the state Senate in Tennessee, and became Speaker of the Senate, or some such nonsense. Maybe it was the House of Representatives. A state legislator became Speaker. And so he was down in Tennessee doing that job, didn't show up for his Senate trial. I love it, man. I love it.
Great.
That guy's awesome. And anyway, they tried him, but then they pulled back, and it turned out they didn't convict him of anything because they determined that they were not able to try him. And the question is, in the Constitution, you've got to be a civil servant, and the question was, is he a civil servant? Or because he was already expelled from the Senate, is he no longer a senator? Even if a senator is a civil servant, then we still can't try him.
So confusing.
That was the first one. Very interesting. But I love the fact that he's like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm going to go be a legislator in the state.
So though the president, circling back, was impeached,
Yes.
McConnell is saying that he's not going to be able to get the Senate trial to actually fit on the calendar. So that's not going to happen, he said. He just said there's no time in order to do that.
Oh, I think it will happen.
You do?
But not until after the 20th.
Well, how can you impeach somebody who's already out of office? You cannot.
No, he is impeached.
Right, but okay, how can you remove somebody who's already out of office?
No, it's about conviction. They can convict someone who's already out of office.
That's the deal.
Yes. So McConnell's not going to do it, but I believe, I haven't read anything in the last day or so, but I believe that they will try him when the new Senate convenes.
Well, that'll be interesting because they will have also the majority at that point.
Exactly.
So there you have it. Okay, so I have another one. Now, my next word is the opposite of divergent. It's coalesce. And I've actually used this word in regular conversation before because things get together and they come together and they coalesce. It is an intransitive verb, I can say it, and it means to grow together. The edges of the wound coalesced in surgery term, to unite into a whole from various areas uniting. So, that's what Biden and Harris are doing now. They're going to coalesce the country and unite the country.
All right, next, impeachment.
Okay.
First president to be impeached. Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson was the first president, and it was in 1868.
Wow.
Also an interesting story. Johnson was from the South. This is right after the Civil War.
Okay.
And he was a Southerner who wanted to stay in the Union. He still had very strong Southern sympathies, but he didn't want to break away from the Union. And when Lincoln came in, he's like, hey, I'm going to have that guy who's a Democrat, Lincoln was a Republican, to help unify the country. This guy saw the importance of staying in the Union. I'm going to make him my vice president. He became vice president. Lincoln gets shot. Johnson gets to be president. Democrat. The far right, I guess, if that's what you would call it at the time, with the Republicans, they were like, hey, I think it's okay with this guy. But then it turned out that Johnson was very, very sympathetic to the South, was not in favor of the new freedoms that the freed slaves had, other things like that. And they were super angry at him. They ended up impeaching him for kind of a technicality because he was firing people that he, by the new laws and Constitution, was not able to fire. So they were able to successfully impeach him there. He was not convicted. It took 36 votes to convict. They had 35.
Wow,
35
close.
Votes. So not convicted.
But that was the very first impeachment.
First presidential
impeachment.
Yes.
Interesting, great brain food for you. To see you learn something all the time.
Yes.
On this Brain Food Zone. So, all right, when we come back, we are going to try something new on this program. We're going to call it Off the Cuff. Lori's going to ask questions.
I have no idea.
Rick's going to make up answers when we come back.
Howdy, folks. It's the Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota. Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
The professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Back. This is our final segment. We're trying something new. It may be the first and only time, or it may be recurrent, depending on how it goes. I think we're going to call it off the cuff, right?
Right, it's a little off the cuff.
Right.
And
So symbolically, I have cleared my table. Tabla rasa. Literally, as well as figuratively.
So he's
Lori's
clean.
going to bring something up, a discussion point, whatever it might be. I have no idea, and I don't want to know.
Yep.
And we're gonna wing it.
That's the premise of this, is that I'm going to surprise you with something. Now, I know that you're very good about knowing so many different topics, but I thought I would ask for your opinions on a couple of things.
Please do.
I mean, because that way you don't have to give me facts and figures necessarily, but you could definitely give me your opinion from a, liberty, freedom-minded. So
That sounds good.
All right, so we'll see how this goes. So the first thing that I thought I would ask you about is North Dakota bill that would let censored citizens file lawsuits against Facebook and Twitter. Tom Kading has a bill. And the bill would let censored citizens file lawsuits against Facebook and Twitter. And I just thought I would ask your take on that, what you think of it. Is it a good idea to allow citizens to go after people who have censored them with these major tech companies? Is that a good idea?
That's a very good question. So I think that first off, if you're going to try and do that, it's going to be very difficult because you're one state in 50.
Right.
So the technicalities of it may cause it to be non-functional from the get-go. But philosophically or what have you, first, if you're going to go on one of these sites, I think that you, by necessity, agree to their terms.
Right.
So you have the choice to agree by their terms or don't go on. So I don't think that if in their terms they say we can censor you, that you should be able to sue them. And I think it's perfectly fine for them to have a contract if they want to say just that, because you have the right to say, well, then I'm going to go elsewhere. Now, the problem is there's very few places to go.
Exactly.
So the solution, in my mind, rather than being able to sue them for censorship, is to remove barriers to entry for competitors, because government regulation causes the lack of competition.
I was just going to say Section 230.
And then also there are special privileges. In addition to regulations, which are a barrier to entry, you have special protections. Now, along with protections are subsidies. So government provides these types of things to large corporations and certain industries that make it so unfair. And in this particular case, they have protections in the Section 230 for liability for various things, because they are supposed to be considered a platform which does not editorialize. Right. So if they want those protections, then they cannot editorialize, which they're doing by censoring people, or they should be liable for such lawsuits. And so it's kind of a half a dozen of one, a six of another. But I think overall, I hate to belabor it, I think overall I'm marginally not supportive. I love the concept, but we have to go with free market.
Because the minutia of the bill is probably going to have to be so extensive in order to, I don't know how you would.
If you get government out of the way and you have a platform that sucks because it's censoring people, government's out of the way, then everyone just says, that platform sucks, I'm going to do a different platform. And that's the free market.
All right, now my next one is kind of similar, I guess. It's talking about, rather than censoring, a little bit more about doxing and about blacklisting. So former Trump staffers have been told they're never going to work again. Now, you and I were talking not very long ago about this being a right to work state. And in the case of people who are former Trump staffers, they are being doxxed, they are being threatened, and they are at a point where they're probably not going to ever work again because of for whom they worked. And the culture is such that they are going to be blacklisted. My question to you is that okay?
Well, the doxing is where your personal information is put up, right? That's not okay. And especially if it's done with the specific intention of
terrorizing someone?
Harassing, terrorizing, putting someone in danger. And I think there are laws in place for addressing that.
Okay.
So that should not be allowed. That should be addressed.
Blacklisting?
Blacklisting, I'm frankly fine with, because for every person that worked for Trump that will be blacklisted in the new administration, there's another job for them, hopefully, from someone who's in favor of Trump. I hate to make this about Trump, but and with as divided as the nation is, when Biden and Kamala are out, then they and their people are susceptible to the same consequences. It's not a great way to go. You should judge someone for their abilities and
Right.
for their work ethic and their history, and not necessarily just for who they worked for.
I agree.
But if you're going to blacklist, then fine. Perhaps you're not going to get the quality of employee that you would have otherwise gotten.
Excellent answer. All right, and one more. And
Yes.
this one is Mitch McConnell friend or foe?
Ha!
Ha!
Wow, that's
Because how's that for a good one?
yes. So Mitch McConnell is friend and foe, depending on the year, the day, and what the topic
Right?
is.
And look what he's done. I mean, look what he did with the Supreme Court, shoving that through with all the. So
He's done so. He is a master maneuverer. There's a better vocabulary word than that, but he's fantastic at what he does. I don't know that he is a champion of freedom. Well, no, I do know. He's not a champion of freedom to the degree that I would want by any means. He's a master at what he does in politics. So he's a friend or foe depending on what day it is and what the topic is.
that's
He's
so
anywhere.
interesting because I feel the same way about that. That's why I asked the question, because it's hard for me to discern from day to day whether I'm in favor of what he's doing manipulative-wise or what he's not. And I got to meet him one time. Actually, he was in Bismarck one time, and I got to meet him. He was a very nice gentleman. And so anyway, friend or foe. You did very well with Off the Cuff.
Oh, thank you so
That
much.
was our first
That
time.
was well, let's try it again.
Okay.
And then probably the first one I can't answer is then we're going to stop.
Okay.
And never do it again.
I like how you think. All right, on our next program, it'll be really interesting. Rick will be out of the studio on Monday, and I'm going to have a special guest co-host with me. Should we name it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Cody Shue will be joining me here on No Apologies with Beck. And next, stick around because you've got No Filter with Debbie coming up, and you have a great time when you're gone. I'm taking the desk too, by the way.